He's pled guilty to murder, but it's unclear whether justice can be served in this case. Ahmed Abdullahi of East Grand Forks is a native of Somalia, which raises questions of deportation. Today, under a plea agreement, he pled guilty to murder in the September 12, 2021 shooting death of an acquaintance, Megan Gustafson of Grand Forks. He also pled guilty to other charges lumped in with the case: the theft of a vehicle, robbery at a Valley dairy store just down the street from the murder scene, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The plea agreement calls for a 4 to 35-year sentence. Sentencing is scheduled for September 7th. The judge has the option of throwing out the agreement and giving him life in prison.
Terms of this call for 4 to 35 years in prison.
Correct.
You satisfied with that?
No, not really.
All right.
This guy's been arrested 26 times.
Or 21 or something.
3 of them were felonies.
Yeah.
Big time.
He's violent. It's proven he's been violent.
Now, as Megan's grandfather said, Abdullahi has a long criminal record. For a bit of background on him, here are 2 of my reports from just 2021. One for a March incident at a Grand Forks bar, and the other from the September 12th murder scene of Megan Gustafson in Grand Forks. We have an update now regarding a threat by a man to shoot up the place at Rumors Bar in Grand Forks on this Friday evening, as we reported earlier from a patron in the bar who said the suspect, now identified as Ahmed Abdullahi, came in the bar smoking and was told he couldn't smoke in there and got into a confrontation. At that time, according to Sergeant Eberhardt now, they received multiple 911 calls of the suspect threatening to shoot up the place. However, the sergeant says they got on scene and confronted him without any problem, and there was no gun found. A Class AA charge of murder has been filed against Ahmed Abdullahi in that early Sunday morning shooting in Grand Forks. The victim has been identified as Megan Gustafson. According to the criminal complaint, quote, on September 12th at approximately 1:32 a.m., officers from the Grand Forks Police Department were dispatched to an apartment. This is on the 1300 block of 8th Avenue North for suspicious activity call in regard to a separate investigation. When officers arrived, they knocked on the apartment door and spoke to Megan Gustafson. Officers then walked away. Shortly thereafter, an argument could be heard coming from inside the residence. The front door opened. Megan Gustafson was observed inside the apartment door with her back toward the street. Ahmed Abdullahi was observed in the door facing Megan Gustafson. An officer heard a single gunshot in the direction of Megan Gustafson and Ahmed Abdullahi. Officers heard Megan Gustafson scream and then observed her run into the lawn and fall to the ground. Abdullahi walked out of the apartment holding a handgun in his hand. Officers were able to secure and detain Abdullahi. He was in possession of a Taurus 9mm handgun, which was reported stolen from a vehicle in Grand Forks in September of 2020. Officers observed Megan Gustafson to have a gunshot wound to her chin, neck area. Officers began life-saving measures. Megan Gustafson was transported to Altru Hospital, where she was later pronounced deceased.
Now, there's one other twist to this case. His attorney says Abdullahi is not a citizen of the United States. So, once he's illegally sentenced here in North Dakota, he could wind up being deported from the United States, making his sentence here moot.
Now, Abdullahi's attorney wasn't clear on the complexities of immigration law, which says a murder conviction likely means deportation. But what happens next isn't clear either. Does it mean he would have to serve his sentence in Somalia or simply walk free once he's returned home? We've reached out to some immigration legal experts. We'll have more information on all this when we get it.
Hopefully, he should have been deported a long time ago. This wouldn't have happened. If the state, to me, as far as I'm concerned, if they were doing their job, he would have been gone a long time ago.
In Grand Forks, I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNewZ.TV.